we're going to talk about the Lion's Gate that's coming up, and if you've been feeling a little anxiety because you've been listening to what is in the collective, and to brace yourself and get ready, because yes, it can be an incredible time of growth and evolving, but we all know like the tumultuous end of that can come with it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be your experience. And so I'm going to share some insights from a client session, and she gave me permission to share, so that maybe you can feel a little bit more peaceful going into the Lionsgate portal. So when I went into her energy field, I started getting so much pressure in my head, like a headache. Okay, I was feeling it very viscerally, so I know that's what she was experiencing currently, or it was either going to come up in her field. And I saw her at a concert, and you know how there's a rail at the edge and people will be like holding on to it, especially if you're at like an EDM festival and people are like headbanging. And so she was holding on, but her body was like up in the air. There was a huge windstorm that was happening, like just rain and just very tumultuous. And I said, oh, are you bracing yourself, bracing for impact, for what you're about to go through? So I paused time. Now this is in the ethers, in the astral, okay? So paused time, and she was able to stand instead and looked at me and said, that was a doozy. And I said, is this what you think is going to happen during the Lion's Gate? Are you bracing yourself, or are you having a premonition? Because those are two different things. One is coming from a trauma response or having negative Lion Gate experiences in the past. And the other is like, oh no, I'm actually perceiving with my psychic and channeling senses that it's about to get really rocky. And I started to feel a lot of nausea in my body. That was anxiety that she was feeling. And I said, here, I want you to take this. And it was a bundle of eucalyptus and peppermint. And I said, I want you to put your face in it and take a big breath in. And she did, and it immediately subsided in my body, so I knew that helped her. So that's something you can take with you. You don't always have to have a physical, tangible item in order for it to support you. You can even look at pictures online of eucalyptus and peppermint and envision doing that in your mind's eye and pull the healing properties of it through the astral fields. So again, I asked her, are you bracing for a what if? Or are you having a premonition? And she said, I cannot tell the difference. And she's an energy healer, but when you're feeling panic and anxiety and fear, it's real wonky trying to hear what your intuition and higher self are saying. And so I said, honestly, that's not even important, okay, if you can tell the difference. I said, and I'm reading from my notes down here, I said, can you course correct yourself? And she said, what do I mean? I said, what path do you want to experience? What would you prefer? And she said, I want to feel smooth, ease, have fun, grow, and have new gifts unlock. And I said, great. How are we going to get there? Okay, what is the path? I said, we're going to decide instead of waiting for something to happen. You can determine what kind of Lion's Gate that you're going to experience. This is when we become a conscious creator. And we say, this is what it's going to be, period. Okay, even if something seemingly negative happens or comes your way, you can determine whether it is a blessing or something positive. Okay, we can always spin it to be in our favor. But if you are bracing for impact and there's too many variables, that's where a lot of the fear and anxiety is coming from, because you're like, what if? And even if those things aren't going to happen, you're going to end up manifesting them. Because that's where you're placing your energy, attention, and awareness. Even if you're not consciously doing it, that fear and anxiety is going to manifest. Okay, it's negative things happening and challenges in your body going out of whack. So you can circumvent a lot of that of saying, oh, this Lion's Gate is about to be popping off. Okay, it is going to be fantastic. It's going to launch me into this next chapter of my life, and I'm going to have so many blessings rolling in. I'm going to feel freaking fantastic. Those are things that we can say over self and then make those become our reality. I said, most people's default settings are to brace for impact because they're getting ready for disappointment. That's stuff from childhood. If you want to learn more about how to get out of those cycles, download my free inner child empowerment class. Okay, we get into it and I help you work through it. But that ends up manifesting more things to brace for impact. Okay, that is taking all your thoughts and beliefs, of negativity and then seeing it happen out here. That's usually us that is creating that. I said, what we need to do is pour more energy, attention, and awareness into what you want to experience. Like the positive things, instead of waiting for potential negativity. Because the Lion's Gate is an amplifier of energy, whether it's positive or negative. Okay, it's just an amplifier. So there are going to be old things that come to the surface. That's what always happens through these things. But you get to decide if that's a blessing and a positive. You can say, oh my God, all of these old traumas are going to be coming up from the past and it's going to cause so much strife within myself. Or you can be like, oh my God, all of this stuff is coming up. Thank goodness. I'm clearing it all out right now. Okay, what a beloved opportunity for me. Okay, just release. And us saying this is a time for bountiful blessings to come in. This Lion's Gate is going to amplify my blessings tenfold. Period. That is what is happening. I am saying it, and so it shall be. And a thought that came up in her field was, oh, well, I get to experience blessings because I have done all that shadow work, because I have released so much. No. Don't ever say that again. That's what her higher self said. Because now we're putting conditions on our blessings. I only get to experience good things in life if I'm a good person, if I've done this much shadow work, if I'm working on my self-concept. The universe in the quantum field doesn't care about that. Okay? We do with our human conceptual minds. The quantum field is saying, do you feel that it is within your wherewithal to receive blessings? It's a yes or a no. It's not supposed to be conditional. It don't matter what I'm going through, I still get my manifestations. I'm not attaching my self-worth. I'm not attaching other people's expectations or my own expectations of myself. I get what I desire, period. It doesn't have anything to do with being a good person. Something else that I brought up is why we're not receiving our manifestations sometimes and how this ties in with the Lion's Gate of being an amplifier. She was saying, I want it to be smooth, easy, fun, grow in new gifts. We love that, but that's very ambiguous. That's very vague. And I'm not saying that we have to be wildly hyper specific about what we're manifesting, but if you're not like setting some parameters, your subconscious doesn't really have anything to go off of, or the universe or your higher self or your spirit team. It's like, what exactly do you want to do here? So for an example, she said, I want to go on more vacations. Oh, actually, I want to go on more adventures. I said, great, where do you want to go? And then when I asked her that, she got a little stumped. I'm not quite sure. Well, then we don't have any timelines to propel us forward. Like, there's not really goals. Like, yeah, it's great to say adventures and vacations, but like, there's not enough intricacies to it, and it's not enough excitement, because that's kind of getting into the realms of like one day if, and you're just kind of waiting for things to happen. What I told her is, I was in the same boat, and I said, I want to go to New Orleans. And then it happened. I went and I had a fantastic time, and it worked out really synchronistically and very easily, because I was looking at videos on social media and thinking about my outfits and how I'm going to get there. Am I going to fly? Am I going to drive? Oh, do I want to stay in an Airbnb? Do I want to stay in a hotel? Oh, in doing that, because I was pointing so much energy, attention, and awareness, I manifested a lot of unique opportunities that just worked themselves out, and the money to get there. But I had to give a little bit of direction to my consciousness of like, what exactly is it that we're wanting here? What are we pulling ourselves to? Or when I asked about what does smooth and ease mean, like that's a little bit too generic. What she actually meant was, I want to be able to wake up in the morning and have my coffee and be clear of mind and have direct communication with my higher self, so I know the inspired actions to take, or if I need to rest, like being more in tune with her body. Oh, okay, well now our subconscious and the universe has more direction to pull those resources and support in for us to get to that place in life. But we got to be a little bit more directional. So that's for the Lion's Gate, for you to come in and say, hey, these are what I am wanting to amplify. This is what I am wanting to bring into my life. Let's get into it. And then we're going to state, this is going to happen. I am deciding.